So I graduated at the time that the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King was killed. And so I would say I had been a pretty quiet student, and before then, and focusing on what I was doing, my work, physics, working in the lab, all of that. But when that happened, and looking around at how few African American students there were, and really on a relative basis, how few women there were. But at that point, the number of African Americans was really tiny. And so a group of us got together and decided we should present some, demands. By the time they were written, they were called proposals. That we would present to the administration. And amazingly, when we presented them, they said, okay, well, we're going to form this task force on educational opportunity and ask Paul Gray to chair it. And so we spent months and months, arguing, working through different things having to do with, how to recruit African American students, what kind of financial aid one had to think about, how to bring them into MIT. And then actually, those of us who were on that committee, including myself, we spent the months traveling to high schools around the country to recruit African American students to come to MIT, as well as work out how we felt MIT should go about, as I said, awarding financial aid and things like that. And also to hammer out the start of a summer program, which was called Project Interphase. Now, actually, the year before, there was a small program called Project Epsilon. And it had a handful of students, primarily African American. I think there may have been one Native American. And I remember being asked, what should this program be called? And so, in those days, we thought of epsilons as being small. So we said Project Epsilon. But then the next year, it became Project Interphase. And we did go from having about 3 to 5 African American students per year to 57 the year after we started the task force. And so there were a number of students who went through Project Interphase, and I taught in it the first year, and then the second year I was asked to actually be in charge of the physics program, which I did. And so it was an interesting experience, but one that I felt was very important.
And just as an aside,